Choice of Magics by Kevin Gold. Chapter 1: The Lost Academy. You push yourself out the window of an ancient classroom, clutching a musty tome of Vivomancy magic, and land with a roll on the cobblestone path below. Above you, it seems to be night, and you're momentarily confused. How are you seeing stars, when stars have been obscured by clouds for over 2,000 years? But then you realize the twinkling lights must be flecks of quartz in the rocky ceiling above, reflecting the light of the magical street lamps below. Those street lamps continued to shine even when the neighbor's magic pulled this academy underground. They shone underground, while above ground, Abraxas walked the earth and declared that magic was forbidden. They illuminated this ancient place of learning, while everywhere else, wizards were put to the sword. You still can't believe your luck in finding this academy before the church did. When you and Tal began following her bounty, a great burrowing worm, you had no idea it would burrow all the way to this sunken academy and its long-buried treasures. Tal slew the worm, and its final thrashers collapsed the tunnel behind you, but apparently not before an inquisitor followed you inside as well. He must have been shadowing you until you got your hands on this tome of magic, whereupon he shouted that you were under arrest, and here you are, more or less. You have no idea how the Inquisitor found you in the first place. Sometimes the church has an uncanny knack for knowing things. You're not a wizard yet, but you're not sure the Inquisitor cares about this technicality. He probably wants you dead. Tal prepares to jump from the same second-floor window you did. Her fingers move to her eye patch, as if she's worried she will misjudge the distance. She hesitates a moment too long, and the Inquisitor's crossbow bolt lodges itself in her leg. Tal grunts in pain, leaps forward with her good leg, and lands ungracefully, faltering because of the wound. "Are you all right?" you ask her. "Mare." Gritting her teeth, Tal jerks the bolt out from between the pieces of her black leather armor, ignoring the trickle of blood that results. "I'm fine, but I might have a little trouble climbing up to that open window over there. Which is too bad, because it seems like our best escape route." She nods to the tome in your hands. "Anything in there that can help?" "I'm certain of it," you say eagerly. You open up Prayer for Vivomancia, or Introduction to Vivomancy, the tome that you managed to peruse a bit before the Inquisitor showed up. You recall the warning in the book's preface: the magic of life may have unintended consequences. Well, isn't that true of everything in life? Heal Tal's leg so we can keep running to the ancient dueling ground ahead where we can make our stand. Sprout wings and carry Tal to a high dorm window, where something's glittering. Part the wooden wall of the building next to us, dash inside, and reseal the wall. Next.
I'm going to go ahead and heal Tal's leg. Let's put this in here.
"I can heal you," you say to Tal. "Hang on." You listen to the sounds of nature about you and feel the invisible strands that connect you to everything. "Wait, you're going to magic me?" You distantly hear Tal say, but the roar of life in your ears quickly drowns her out. You thrust a hand toward the ground and draw on the power of life. The smell of fresh cut grass fills your nose as you embrace the power of Vivomancy. You murmur the words of power from your book, and beams of light shoot from your hand to the ground, illuminating tiny living motes that swim through the air toward your hand. When your hand feels warm enough, you clap it to Tal's leg, startling her, and push the magical power into her. Tal remains stiff as the power flows to her. When you withdraw your hand, it is wet with her blood, and you worry that you stopped too soon. but parting her leather armor pieces and the torn fabric underneath reveals that the wound has closed entirely. Gained Vivomancy. In the future, do you want to know when your skills change, as with this mention of gaining Vivomancy?
I'm going to select yes so we see the in-game mechanics more. I wish I could just read the mechanics. Alright.
You did it, Tal says, awed. You then feel a slight queasiness. Apparently, some of your own life powered the spell. Somehow, you had hoped the unpredictability of Vivomancy would be more whimsical. Are you alright? Tal asks. You look a little unsteady. Increased Tal relationship. I'm fine, you say. Come on, let's keep moving. Why did you choose to heal Tal for your first spell? I didn't want to see her in pain. I thought it would prove useful to have her healed. I thought she'd be grateful and perhaps repay that gratitude. I didn't want to see her in pain. You realize now you should have asked permission before healing Tal, but you couldn't help it, you just didn't want to see her in pain. Increased empathy. You and Tal run across the grass until you come to a circular plaza made of obsidian. Here there are two long-dead skeletons. One, who fell at the edge of the obsidian, wears a crisp navy duelist's uniform with gold epaulets, no doubt preserved by magic. The skull is missing. The other skeleton wears black robes, and has fallen on the grass just next to the first skeleton. You inspect the two skeletons for any weapons you could use in a fight against the Inquisitor. In the pocket of the black-robed one, you find a note with the following words. Glamour, Philortia omnis, Cleos venenum. Negation, nihilo. You're in luck. This student was apparently going to cheat in the duel by using glamour magic to convince the enemy not to attack, followed by negation magic to blow the opponent's head off, and they've left you the cheat sheet for the magic words. You gather from the skeleton's poses that the obsidian must be anti-magic. The black-robed student ran off it, and the duelist student followed, only to have his or her head disintegrated. Perhaps the duelist managed to resist the glamour and run the cheater through. But with what? Inspecting the duelist's skeleton, you realize your luck is even better. In its hand is a black cylinder. You pick it up and urge a blade to appear. A 3-foot-long cylindrical blade of bright blue light appears and emits a faint hum. You experimentally wave it around. VWUMWUMWUM. It's a Lux Gladius, an ancient sword of light. Gain fighting. Your dream has always been to be a wizard, not a duelist. But glamour magic is always accompanied by a slow deterioration of health known as rot, while negation magic leaves behind deadly clouds and may disturb the dark sun in ways you don't understand. And who knows what Vivomancy may lead to. This, on the other hand, is inarguably a fine weapon. Wow, Tal says admiringly. Hey, here he comes. You know how to use that thing. Nope. Give Tal the Lux Gladius, but try to use glamour magic to get the Inquisitor to leave peacefully. Don't need it. Give Tal the Lux Gladius, and cast a bolt of negation magic at the Inquisitor. Yell everything I need to know, I'm listening. Charge the Inquisitor with the Lux Gladius. Yell everything I need to know, I'm listening. Charge the Inquisitor with the Lux Gladius. Wait, what? Tal says as you run and charge the Inquisitor. Sing your sword of light. The Inquisitor panics and runs from you. Let him go. Tal cries. We don't want to be Inquisitor murderers. We really don't. Kill the Inquisitor. If he's alive, he could report back. Let him run away, as Tal suggests. We may as well talk to him. Cast a glamour spell and order him to come back. We may as well talk to him. Cast a glamour spell and order him to come back. Okay, you say. You try using the glamour spell that you found on the student and, after a few tries, manage to find the energy within yourself to power the spell. Philautia omnis, Cleos venenum. The Inquisitor stops running and turns around. The Inquisitor seems unable to look away from you. Beneath his handlebar mustache, his mouth parts in awe. Please don't try to harm us, you tell him, and he nods slightly. Gained glamour. You spare a glance for Tal. Though she had drawn her sword, she warily sheathes it now. I'm so sorry to intrude, says the Inquisitor. If there is anything I can do to make it up to you. Were you sent specifically to catch us? You ask the Inquisitor. And did you know about this place? The Inquisitor shakes his head. The Hierophant had a vision of you exploring this place and thought it was the beginning of something important. Nobody knew who you were. I was just told to try to uncover this old academy or wait for you to show up, whichever came first. I was digging for a month with no progress on the other side of the ridge until you showed up chasing the tunneling worm, so I appreciate the relief. His look grows darker. But magic is forbidden. If the Hierophant knew you were a wizard, should have ordered your capture like anybody else. When Inquisitors capture magic uses as shapeshifters, those people are typically never heard from again. Most people assume they're quietly executed. The Church's official line is that they will administer justice, as is the duty to the kingdom, and the laws on the books certainly dictate death for wizards and shapeshifters. Hierophant Elizabeth is known to be quite by the book. If anything you've heard about her is true, you doubt she would make any kind of exception for you just because of an intriguing vision. But you decide to ask the Inquisitor's opinion. If you did capture me, would I be executed? You ask. Inquisitors just deliver the wizards, the Inquisitor says. But I think so. He doesn't know. Interesting. Well, I have new instructions for you, you say. Have him explore ahead and fight any monsters he encounters. Have him leave and never report what he's seen here. Take his stuff, tie him up, and come back for him later. Have him sit still so I can practice turning people into tortoises. Take his stuff, tie him up, and come back for him later. Hand over your weapons and remove your armor, you order. The Inquisitor does as you ask, handing over his mace and crossbow, then shedding his chain armor until he's in his starched white underclothes. Tal looks impressed and frightened at the same time. Examining the goods, you have a feeling that a crossbow and bolts won't be very useful compared to the power of magic, and you'd both prefer your swords to his shorter mace. You can at least use his chain armor. Who will take it? I'll take it. I'm not wearing armor at all. Tal can have it. She's only got leather armor and is more likely to fight hand to hand. Never mind, this isn't worth annoying the church. Let him go. I'll take it. I'm not wearing armor at all. You don't have any armor at all, not being a hunter like Tal. You sure could use it. Mind if I take the armor? You say. You are kind of squishy, Tal says. Sure. You don the Inquisitor's armor. Gain fighting. Good, you say. Now, let's tie him up. Are we just going to leave him here? Tal says, concerned. For now, yes, you say. I don't know how long the spell will last, so this is really the safest course of action. Increased calculation. Decreased church relationship. But the thought of being tied up and left for dead seems to alarm the Inquisitor, and he abruptly gets up and runs back the way he came. I guess glamours have the limits, Tal observes. Are you going to be okay when we get back to Accreton? Or are you a fugitive now? I guess we'll find out, you say. I could have been meaner, after all. True, Tal says. With the Inquisitor dealt with, you return your attention to the skeletons. You could wear the clothing if you like, the duelist's uniform or the black robes. They might be magical. But first, you consider whether you prefer your current appearance. What do you look like? Bookish and spectacled. Rugged and adventurous. A snappy dresser, popular about town. I dress all in black. Rugged and adventurous. You and Tal have been hiking together and fighting the monsters of the countryside since you were young. Gain fighting. Your arms are well muscled, and your mud-spattered leather armor has seen better days. Gain fighting. What else is remarkable about your appearance? I've been told I'm quite good-looking. My beard is enormous. My head is shaved, and my scalp has some intimidating tattoos. I almost never cut my hair. It comes down to my ankles. My beard is enormous. You look like a hermit, with a scraggly beard that comes down to your collarbone. Your beard is constantly collecting crumbs and knots. You had thought it was merely a cosmetic decision, or lack of one, until you felt power coursing through your beard with your Vivomancy spell. Now you think it might serve as an extra reservoir of living power. Perhaps that's why so many of the wizards of old sported great beards or long hair. Gained Vivomancy. And what sort of pronouns and nouns do you prefer? Why the royal titles? No reason. They, them, their, person, monarch. She, her, woman, queen. He, him, his, man, king. You take the black robes and the duelist's uniform from the skeletons. What did you want to wear? My leather armor. Plus fighting. My duelist uniform. Plus charisma. My black robes. Plus subtlety. Plus negation. My chain mail. Plus fighting. My chain mail. Plus fighting. You decide to wear your chain mail. Gain fighting. That chain mail looks great on you, Tal says. You look like a real hero. You aren't certain whether she's only complimenting you because of the glamour. Tal herself never puts much effort into her own appearance. Her hair turned silvery gray at a young age, and she refused to dye it. She keeps it in a short ponytail, probably lopping it off with a sword when it gets too long. Her pronounced cheekbones have a few scars from fights with monsters, but she has never applied any cosmetics to conceal them. You're not even certain a dress has ever graced her wiry frame. You know that Tal could put more effort into her appearance, but you're also fairly sure she doesn't give a damn. Maybe Tal figures her appearance is a lost cause since she has to wear an eye patch. You think she'd be wrong about that, but you two don't talk about it. How does it feel to get compliments from Tal? I'm always interested in getting compliments from ladies. I'm used to having Tal check my appearance before a date with a guy. I'm interested in getting romantic attention from anyone. I have no use for romantic attention of any kind. I don't ever want to have sex, but I might want to go on dates. I'm always interested in getting compliments from ladies. Tal has always been a good friend who gives you sartorial advice before you go on an important date. You've often wondered whether there could be something between you, but so far, you've always just been good friends. Following the building on your right, you go farther down the green until you encounter a small door labeled BIBLIOVALTUSCURATORES. Library staff. Library. You try the door, but it's locked. Seeing a reasonable solution, you fire up your Lux Gladius and slice through the door hinges and lock. The heated metal, glowing orange, drips down and becomes unusable. Then Tal gives the door a good solid kick, and it falls down with a bang. The staff room is dark but full of twinkling little eyes. Descendants of the librarian's cats have apparently spent generations in this small office, living off some automation-powered water and food bowls in the corner. You think you see about 20 long-haired cats in the darkness, on the desk, on the bookshelves, tucked in drawers and boxes. The cats form a continuous shaggy carpet in the small office. Getting to the other door, which presumably leads into the library proper, would require stepping on a lot of cats. Just then, your glamour wears off. You feel an immediate wrenching pain in your bee, although it soon fades. One cat hisses at you, and the rest join in. For the record, I'm not killing cats, Tal says. I didn't suggest it, you say, but your eyes alight on a few mangled cat corpses near the food bowl, suggesting the cats themselves are quite feral. I cast a glamour. Maybe it works on cats, too. I cast a negation bolt above the cats' heads. One of us can use the Lux Gladius's light to distract the cats. One of us can use the Lux Gladius's light to distract the cats. You activate your Lux Gladius so that it blazes with light. The cats are all deeply entranced. You try moving it one way, then another, and all the heads follow attentively. Increased humor. You then try backing up and leading the cats out of the staff room. And they all follow you. The next door's unlocked, Tal says, trying the knob. Let's go. You make the Lux Gladius light disappear and run after Tal. That was fun, you think. Maybe you should get a pet someday. Your hometown of Accretin has no library. In fact, you don't think there is a public library in the whole kingdom of Arenia. When you were young, the word library had a similar feel to the words hoard or utopia. A cache of books free for the taking was too good to be true. Now you are in a library, and it is wonderful. The rows of books may well contain all the knowledge you have ever craved. The musty smell of the old books is intoxicating. And these are not just any books. Browsing the titles, it is clear these are tomes of magic. Delicious, forbidden knowledge, ripe for the learning. The books glow slightly purple. You suspect this is an enchantment of negation that zaps dust and fungus before it can accrue. Thanks, Mother, you whisper. Your mother insisted on teaching you the language of the ancients herself when you were young, as her mother taught her, even though the family had never been nobility. You're not sure your mother would approve of the subject matter here, but you're grateful nonetheless. Looks like it's your lucky day, Tal murmurs, admiring the rows upon rows of books. Yours too, if you want, you say. Not if you're suggesting learning magic, Tal says. You're way braver than I am when it comes to messing with that stuff. Mind if I take some books that just look expensive and mostly not cursed? Sure, you say, although you know whichever books she picks, it will pain you to find that she has sold them. You hunt for primers in the schools of magic you don't have books for yet: negation, glamour, divination, and automation. The hemispherical magical lights above you are dimmed by dust and long-dead bugs, making it somewhat difficult to read the titles. Hey, why is there a humor section in the middle of the other magic? Tal calls out from a different aisle. Is that a joke? I remember hearing somewhere that the ancients considered it a kind of magic. You call back. Don't remember why. Aspirationally, you also pick up a book called Megalimagia, Great Magic. The contents are unintelligible besides the introduction, which promises a cutting-edge look at how to perform incredibly powerful magic. The rest of the book may be too esoteric for you now, but you hope to unlock its secrets with time. You could spend hours in this library, you think. And why not? For all you know, there was only one Inquisitor pursuing you. But then again, for all you know, more Inquisitors are even now dousing the Academy's wooden buildings with oil and striking a spark. There's no reason the Hierophant could not have sent another Inquisitor, or two, or three. You'd best not linger over much. As you peruse the books, you notice that an author's name is often more prominent than the bland title of whatever they wrote. You wonder whether your name will survive 2,000 years, and what you would be known for if it did. What is your first name? Names that are longer than 3 letters are seen as a little pretentious in your hometown of Accretin, though the urban elites of Edra don't see it that way. Ori. And what is your father's name? In your society, before you register for a profession, if you are the son of Lon, you were called Lonson. Eli. Ori Ellison. You suppose it will never appear on the back of a book, because you'll choose a professional name before then. Wizard Ori. Magician Ori. At the moment, it all sounds unusual and awkward, and you're not even sure Mayor Cos would allow it. You think they'll tell a tale in some musty book like this one day. You call out to Tal, who is exploring a different aisle. I dunno, what's the tale? Tal shouts back. How Ori and Tal saved the kingdom of Arenia. How Ori and Tal brought magic back to the kingdom of Arenia. How Ori and Tal started a revolution and took over the kingdom of Arenia. How Ori and Tal saved the kingdom of Arenia. Yeah. Tal replies. The queen's abducted by the neighbors or something, and we come to her rescue. No need to get fanciful with the neighbors, but you say. There are plenty of people threatening Queen Thekla right in Edra. The capital's crawling with villainous intrigue. From what I've heard, Queen Thekla can intrigue fine on her own, Tal says. Maybe she sets up her own capture as a test or something. To see if the Hierophant tries to take over in her absence. You hate to admit it, but Tal might be better at coming up with plots than you. Okay, so let's say the church does take over in the Queen's stead. We return with the Queen to Edra, reach the palace, and everybody agrees Noodles would make a better ruler than either of those old biddies, Tal says. Her purple stuffed monkey, the aforementioned Noodles, peeks his head around the corner. Tal wiggles the monkey's arms. He'll make the best ruler. Vote for me. Noodles, that's not how a monarchy works. Well, it's how a monkeyarchy works. Single quote quote. I don't think the Queen's that old, you say. Oh. Tal says. I thought she was old. I think she's just in her 30s or something. So, kind of old, Tal says. You think she's only half joking, even though both of you are in your mid-20s, 30 still seems far away. Anyway, I thought the point was that we would save the day. Tal barks a laugh. Yeah, well, I've always known you to cause more trouble than you solve, but it's a nice thought. If you think that, then why'd you bring me along? Because being around somebody like that is fun, Tal says with a grin. And here we are. Increased Tal relationship. Increased optimism. After a bit of hunting, you find introductory texts for negation, glamour, divination, and automation. That makes a total of 6 thick books, one for each school, plus the tome of advanced magic called the Megalimagia. You can barely carry them all. You suppose you'll have to come back with a mule or something. You hesitate to bring back a book on negation magic. Some superstitious folk in town believe that the Dark Sun is not merely a physical entity beneath the surface of the earth, but rather an evil force that threatens to corrupt everyone it comes in contact with. You know the ancients didn't see it that way. The ancients even used the Dark Sun at the heart of the earth as a power source for the factories. You resolve to be circumspect about your own use of the magic. While Tal is busy searching for books that look expensive, you can't wait to try some of this new magic. Divination sounds promising. You recall the main drawback of divination is that it reveals some of your own information to whomever you scry upon. If you scry on a thing instead, someone associated with the thing will learn something about you, perhaps the thing's guardian or its creator, or someone very interested in possessing it. What would you like to find out with divination? Where is the most valuable object in these ruins? Is there a potential ally here in these ruins? What might we most like to avoid in these ruins? Is there a potential ally here in these ruins? You decide to cast a spell to look for potential allies, monsters or golems that might befriend you. Increased caution. You place your left thumb and forefinger on your temples and hold up your right hand with fingers splayed. Willing your senses to expand, you intone Mysteria Nomi, Amicus Nausea Exanthus. Before your eyes appears a vision of an ancient stone golem adjusting some levers on an old contraption in what looks to be some sort of service tunnel. The stone golem itself is a blocky creature, but it wears a tattered tabard emblazoned with the crest of the Magic Academy, an open book surrounded by a tree, an eye, a black sun, a gear, and a crown. On the wall beside the golem is some kind of map, but you can't make it out clearly. The golem looks up, startled. It turns to look directly at you. Then the vision fades. You think this is the drawback of divination in action. You have divined the location of the golem, but it has also divined yours. Gain divination. You think this is the drawback of divination. Tal, I think I found a potential ally, but I suspect it doesn't know it wants to be our friend yet, you say. Are you done? Sure, Tal says, returning to you with a backpack that is now bulging with heavy books. You return to the section on automation magic and pick up a readable-looking tome on golem commands and protocols. Gained automation. Then you head for the exit to the library, a set of double doors that each bear the same set of symbols you saw on the golem's livery. You and Tal emerge from the library's main entrance into another quadrangle with full stars twinkling above. Where the last quadrangle appeared residential, this one seems administrative, with colonnades and porticos in the classical style. The tall wooden buildings were shaped by Vivomancy and painted to resemble marble. Fancy in taste, cheap in budget. You've heard the university in the capital is the same way. So, why don't you just cast all the divinations you want? Tal asks. It's just mentally exhausting, you say. Casting one leaves you unable to concentrate on the next. You need time to recover. And then, of course, there's the fact that it tends to give someone else information about you in return. I suppose there are plenty of things I'd rather not know, Tal says. You flinch a little at that. In fact, there's one secret that you've always kept from Tal that would make you afraid of ever casting a divination on her, lest she learn that secret from you. What is it? It was my fault Tal lost her eye. It was my fault Tal lost her father. I reported Tal to Merkos. It was my fault Tal lost her eye. You were working as a runner for the local hunters, including Tal, letting them know when monsters were spotted in the area. But when you were supposed to report a Manticore to Tal, you happened upon some ruins of the ancients along the way. You thought you didn't tarry long, but it was just long enough that you reached Tal just as the Manticore slashed her across the face. Facing two of you, the beast then flew off. Tal has worn an eye patch ever since then. It taught you a lasting lesson in caution. Increased caution. But by knowing Tal so long, you have also learned her own secret. Because you have caught her peeking with the eye that shouldn't be there. She doesn't know you know, she didn't see you saw. But you don't think you imagined it. There is no way Tal's injury could have healed if she were a normal human. But Tal is not a normal human. She is a shapeshifter, a race reviled ever since the Great War with the neighbors when they were engineered by the neighbors to be assassins. That must be how she regenerated her eye. You've hesitated to bring it up with her, because you're not certain what would happen to your friendship. Shapeshifters are captured and never seen again. If Tal thought you couldn't be trusted with the secret, she would probably disappear forever. You bring yourself back to the present, where Tal is ruminating on the downsides of magic. It's all like that fairy tale where the greedy guy wishes for money and ends up drowning in gold, Tal says. You sure you want to become a wizard? With all my heart, you say earnestly. Yeah, take your time thinking about it, Tal says, giving you a playful shove. Indeed, you've always been in love with the very idea of magic. You even formed vague plans about what you would do if you ever discovered it. What did you imagine you would do with your magical power? I wanted to be able to vanquish anyone I so chose. I wanted to clean the world of the fallout the ancients left behind. I wanted to understand the world and how it got this way. I wanted to understand people better. Every life is a fascinating story. I imagined becoming well-respected, even adored. I wanted to be a peacemaker and get people to lay down their arms. I wanted to bring back the fabulous inventions of the ancients. I imagined healing the sky, causing our weather to go back to normal. I just wanted to be free to pursue whatever whims struck me. I wanted to be a wandering healer, like a saint. I just wanted to be free to pursue whatever whims struck me. You've never been one for grand plans. You prefer to take advantage of opportunities as you see them and let life wend along its meandering course. Of all the ancient mages, the Vivomancers seemed most aligned with your philosophy. Their let's just see what happens attitude is partly responsible for all the fabulous creatures roaming the countryside. You saw each modern monster as a living testament to some ancient's creative genius and whimsy. Gained Vivomancy. Increased humor. Increased optimism. Methodically exploring the ruins, you head clockwise around the quadrangle to the next building, a tall, wide tower that looks as though it has some kind of crow's nest jutting above the crenellations on top. You pass through a columned portico and open a pair of heavy bronze double doors. When you open the doors, you find the golem you scryed upon earlier, standing in the middle of a great dining hall with long dusty tables. The stone golem, 8 feet tall and wearing the livery of the academy, appears to have just emerged from a door on the opposite side. On seeing you, it booms in the dialect of the ancients, Visitorii non legitimus. Egress or O Thanatis vu. Leave a die. Basically, you translate for Tal. I was getting that, Tal says. If you incapacitate the golem, you can probably find a way to reprogram it to serve you. You scan the room for anything worthwhile to use against the golem. The old crystal chandeliers are fairly large, and the golem is standing almost directly under one of them. There's also a lot of mass in all the wooden tables and chairs that might be shaped into something else via vivomancy, although you're uncertain whether you have the power to do so. The place settings are bare, no silverware to hurl. Toss a ball of negative energy large enough to destroy the golem. With vivomancy, I reshape the tables to entrap the golem. Lure the golem under a chandelier, then magically disintegrate the rope. Use glamour magic to convince the golem I belong here. You cast a glamour, crossing your arms in front of your chest and drawing on your life force. When you begin to glow gold and smell sweet, you say, Philortia omnis, Cleos venenum. The golem bends to one knee. Mea culpa, Dominex, the golem says. Non agnosco vor magna magnitudo. Looks like it worked, Tal says, surprised. Naturally, you say, though you weren't at all sure it would. Gained glamour. Increased optimism. You take advantage of the golem's glamour to flip through the book on constructs that you procured from the library. It claims all golems in the ancient days tended to share the same password, mentis rasa, for clearing their instructions, so that any trained wizard could handle a golem run amok. You deliver this password and proceed to look up the rituals for giving new instructions to the golem. During this time, your glamour wears off. But the golem remains docile as you follow the golem manual's instructions. Defend us, and try not to break anything unless we tell you to. You tell the golem when you are done. Certeri, Dominex, the golem says with a nod. With that, the three of you proceed to the kitchen. The kitchen shows off the ancients' ingenuity when it comes to automation-based improvements to daily life. The room is chilled by a large automatic cryovault, its metal door open and exposing spiky white ice within. You wonder how much power this ancient machine has drawn from the heavens in the 2,000 years it has been down here. On the kitchen counters along the other two walls are an assortment of handheld automatic devices equipped with drills, whisks, and blades of uncertain purpose. One amuses you, a small trivet equipped with 3 black wands, all pointed in toward the center. You think this is a Percongator, a device that could heat food quickly by hurling tiny balls of negative energy into the food. Near the end, the ancients apparently became lackadaisical to the point of casual self-destruction. The inert flying serving trays, equipped with metal claws and feathered wings, only reinforced this impression. You notice some interesting items on top of the cryovault. There is a full alchemy setup there, with test tubes and distillers and magical burners. Behind the alchemy set are stacked wooden barrels. An alchemy set would be an excellent addition to your basement laboratory. Making potions is as easy as following a recipe, as long as you have the right ingredients. Hey, golem, you say, calling to your new servant behind you, do you think you could reach that alchemy set up there? Certeri, Dominex, the golem says, and it lumbers with crashing steps over to the alchemy set. You wince as the automaton reaches quickly for the alchemy set, afraid the golem will knock down one of the ominous-looking barrels sitting nearby. But it retrieves the whole thing on a platter in one swift motion and offers it to you. Success! You have an alchemy set, and someone to carry it for you too. This day keeps getting better. Just hold on to that for me, please. Certeri, Dominex. While you're thinking about it, you also pillage the most useful-looking parts from the kitchen tools and automatic serving trays, and throw them on the golem's platter as well. Gained automation. Looking for more places to explore, you find a trapdoor near the oven. You throw it open to reveal stairs leading down. This must lead to where I saw our golem friend in my vision, you say. Nice to know he's polite enough to close doors behind him, Tal says. I think I saw a map on the wall in the golem's room, you say. Let's head there and plan our explorations from there. You look to your golem. Lead the way, if you please. Certeri, Dominex. You, Tal, and the golem descend the stairs to the service tunnels. Dust-dimmed magical orbs on the ceiling glow to illuminate the grimy service tunnels. 2,000-year-old graffiti has been burned into the wood of the tunnels with negation magic, initials of long-dead students, declarations of relationships, identities of cheaters, unkind words for bad professors. You wonder what the vandals would think if they knew the graffiti would be their only lasting legacy. They'd probably be pretty excited to have a legacy at all. You said the neighbors pulled academies like this underground so they could be looted later, Tal says. So why didn't they loot this one? I guess the negative C must have appeared between us first, you say. It stopped the Great War cold. But then what about the neighbor spies the Queen is said to sometimes find? Tal says. Why didn't they dig this up? I guess if there are spies, there can't be that many of them, you say. But you can't trust all those stories. Neighbors kidnapping babies for no reason, neighbor shapeshifters taking the place of the royal family. I think that just that, stories. Because if the neighbors really could cross the negative sea, we'd already be conquered. They probably never had to give up magic in the first place. With your golem's help, you quickly find the station where your golem was manning controls. You have little idea what any of the levers, dials, and buttons in this alcove mean, but there is a helpful map on the wall. According to the map, there are 3 large rooms in this tower that stretch nearly to the top: the laboratory, the auditorium, and the arena. The laboratory is marked with a tree, a dark sun, and a gear, symbols identical to the ones on the golem's tabard. You assume these indicate vivomancy, negation, and automation. The auditorium is marked with a simple drawing of a spotlight, and the arena is marked with a plain sphere, a ball, perhaps. The daily life of the ancients never interested you as much as the magic, and you have little idea what awaits you in these rooms besides research, an ancient stage, and some kind of undoubtedly odd sport. You looked at Tal. What do you think? Tal shakes her head. It's your call. You and the golem know much more about the ancients than I do. Golem, do you have any opinion about which of these 3 paths would be best? You ask your new servant. The golem stabs a finger at the laboratory. Lemur malum, it says. No. Then the auditorium. Legion Arachnes. No. Then the arena. Harpibala. No. You got the giant spiders part, but the other 2, bad lemur. Harpyball. Maybe you need to study more ancient texts. Could you elaborate? You say. The golem looks at you as if you're the dense one. It circles all 3 rooms with its hand. No. It seems any of the 3 paths would be equally good for getting to the roof area, not counting their unknown dangers. Let's head to the laboratory. Let's head to the auditorium. Let's head to the arena. Let's head to the arena, you say. Sounds exciting. Maybe there are ancient weapons there. If you say so, Tal says, dubious. You chart a path to the arena and set off through the service tunnels. Your golem helpfully points the way at various junctures, CT via. The arena is a tall, cylindrical room with tiered seating all the way up all sides. There's enough space in the center for 30 people to stretch the hands across the diameter. You look up to where you're trying to go and see that the alcove that once served as the offensive team's goal is currently inhabited by 11 harpies. Both the males and females are bare-chested humans from the waist up. You try not to stare, but the wings and lower bodies are those of birds. A grayish-blue plumage seems to run in the family, and the harpies are more attractive than you would imagine from stories, as if they were bred to be looked at. The harpies are currently gathered around a small fountain in their ancient nest, which seems never to run out of a strange bright red liquid. It must be nutritious and endless to have kept this harpy family going for generations. The expressions on the harpies' faces are vacant, and as one drinks its fill, it lets out a bird-like cry in satisfaction. Apparently the human heads don't come with human brains. Between you and that nest are some of the hazards that would have faced an ancient harpy ball team, assorted spherical metal traps floating on the defensive side, ready to sprout spikes or fling nets or what have you. The challenge of simply going up there, though that's harder for you than it would have been for an ancient harpy ball team, and the harpies themselves, who may still reflexively guard the nest. In your immediate vicinity, you are also surrounded by twigs suggestive of a nest, but there are no harpies in this one. A red line painted on the wall 10 feet up presumably marks the old starting line for the offensive team. There is also a metal platform painted white and black, perhaps for a referee. Close to where you're standing, you experimentally jump on it, but nothing happens. You can think of a few plans that might work here, combining your magics. Only one of them, the platform, strikes you as likely to let you take your new golem along. But maybe he could catch up later. Harpybala, your golem says, shaking its head. Ludismal. Fly up with Vivomancy wings, blast the harpies with negation magic, then carry Tal up. Glamour the harpies into carrying us, using Vivomancy to protect us from the poisoned nails. Use divination to learn how to repair the referee platform, then automation to fix it. Figuring that the harpies may have some vivomantically engineered respect for the referee, you decide you will masquerade as such by using the ref's platform. Inspecting the underside of the platform, you see a schematic of the arena etched into it. The platform's location is indicated with a square that has several ancient numerals next to it. What is missing is the silver powder that should be filling the runes to give them power. You cast a divination to find this silver powder. Putting 2 fingers to your temples, you allow your mind to expand and say Argentum invenit vrit assuminia. You see no silver powder within this room, but as you expand your mind to the rest of the academy, you detect silver nearby, in similar platforms in the auditorium. Gain divination. I'll be right back, you tell Tal. You only have to go backstage at the auditorium to find 2 platforms similar to the referees, which must have been used by the stagehands. The first stagehand platform has no silver either, but the second one does. You peek around the corner to the auditorium proper, wondering if it might make a better escape route than the arena, and see it is filled with cobwebs and giant spiders. You decide to stick with your arena plan. Raising a hand to summon the power of storms, you say, Pincelo potens, prescribo plitia. A lightning bolt strikes your raised hand, crackles around you, and concentrates on your finger, which buzzes and feels slightly numb. Using that crackling finger, you scoop the silver out of the platform's runes and carry it back to the arena, where Tal is waiting. You sprinkle the silver on your enchanted finger, and it hovers in place until you apply it to the etchings on the underside of the platform. Gained automation. The platform hovers slightly, a good sign. You, Tal, and the golem crowd onto the platform. To get it going, you give it a little jump and will it to go up to the top of the arena. The platform races up to the top of the arena with startling speed. When it comes to a halt next to the harpy nest, the harpies, compelled by some ancient instinct of respect for the referee, all kowtow to you. The three of you quickly step off the platform and into the alcove. In the nest, you find a crystal ball, about a foot in diameter. Assuming the referee is allowed to take the ball, you experimentally try grabbing the crystal ball. The harpies seem disappointed, but do not move to defend it. The crystal ball should help you greatly with divination magic. Gain divination. Done with this place, you proceed out the back door of the loft with the harpy's nest. The harpies behind you are only now emerging from the bows, and you want to be gone before they question their instincts. A corridor of maintenance closets, which you rifle through for spare parts, gained automation, leads to a stairwell at the intersection of 4 corridors. You think this corridor presents an opportunity to explore the rooms in this tower you didn't already thoroughly explore. Passing through the arena, the auditorium, or the laboratory would have landed you here, and you could go in the back way to any of these rooms to try to extract more treasure. Take the path that leads to the auditorium. Take the path that leads to the laboratory. Continue up the stairs to the aviary and air dock. You follow one of the corridors to what should be, according to the map you saw in the tunnels, the second balcony of the auditorium. When you open the door, you see that any audience's view from this balcony today would be blocked by giant spider webs. You also see the shadows of giant spiders the size of horses crawling on the webs, illuminated by some red light coming from the stage area. You contemplate just blasting everything, and Tal seems to recognize what you're thinking. No, Tal whispers sharply. We have no idea how many spiders are crawling around those webs. We grab anything left up here and go. Whatever. I start blasting spiders. I do a quick search and leave. You have the element of surprise, at least. You draw as much of the Dark Sun's power as you can to prepare to begin hurling explosive balls of negative energy. The dark power snakes up and down your whole body, smelling like burned meat and charcoal. Finally, you hurl a ball of negative energy at the shadowy form of a spider on the other side of the cobwebs. Nihilo Magna. The cobwebs explode with dark energy, leaving only a black and purple cloud where the spider had been. You begin to see the stage area more clearly. A red spotlight shines on a spider at center stage, which sits atop a pile of collapsed scenery. You blast the spider in another big fireball, Nihilo Magna. The spider and the pile of rubble are both consumed in the explosion, again leaving a purple cloud. You blow up 5 giant spiders in this way, until all is quiet in the auditorium. Though channeling all that dark energy was good practice, it has left a variety of dangerous negative energy clouds in its wake. Gain negation. How thoroughly do you want to search for treasure where the negative energy clouds are? I'd prefer not to go into those clouds at all. I'm willing to go briefly into a cloud for treasure. I searched thoroughly, ignoring the sting of the clouds. You decide to just take the low-hanging fruit in the room. In this case, that turns out to be programs for the auditorium's final production, Spider and Web, about a man captured by the neighbors and interrogated as he is slowly wrapped in silk by a giant spider. So all we got is a program. Tal says. Hey, you can learn a lot from ancient texts, you say. Gained ancient history. You wonder whether one of your negative energy clouds is hiding greater treasure. You brave some brief forays into the negative energy clouds in order to look for treasure. Each cloud stings your wires and burns your skin as you enter. In the cloud that had been center stage, where the spider had been standing on a pile of rubble, you see a glint of gold. A golden ring has survived your blasting. Enduring the burning, you grab the ring and leave the cloud. You put on the golden ring and immediately begin to feel like the star of a show. Gained charisma. You could linger to search for more rings or other treasure here, at the expense of taking more permanent damage to your health. You decide you're done searching the negative energy clouds. Having searched all you can, you return to the intersection where the paths joined. Take the path that leads to the laboratory. Continue up the stairs to the aviary and air dock. You follow the corridor that leads to the laboratory. The door to the laboratory has various warnings on it to students to stay away, but you ignore them and enter, passing through a curtain of light as you do. You enter a tall room dominated by a tall metal cylinder in the center, where a black specter made of swirling negative energy is burning what looks like mathematical equations into the metal with its finger. The room's white walls are similarly etched with mathematics. You appear to have caught the spectre at a tricky moment in its calculations. Because it appears utterly absorbed in the equations, it's back to you. You're about 3 stories from the floor of this room, but you could get down via a series of metal ladders and landings that are strewn with junk. The junk may contain items of interest, but you think it would probably be dangerous to attract the attention of the ghost. Sneak around and grab stuff. Befriend the spectre with glamour magic. Rend the spirit in 2 with negation magic. You cross your arms before you and mutter a glamour spell. You draw power from within yourself until you can smell it, sickly sweet. Philortia omnis, Cleos venenum. Oh no, what are you doing? Tal says. It's more like a statement of disapproval than a question. Hello there, you call out to the spectre. I was hoping you could help us out. The spectre slowly turns its shadowy head to you. You continue, it's dangerous out there, and I was hoping you could provide us with some protection. The spectre taps the equations it has etched on the metal cylinder with its fingers. How voxelize vous mou? You in fact recognize the mathematics the spirit is working on as one of the few branches of mathematics that has flourished rather than withered since the time of the ancients, the study of infinitesimal quantities and areas known as calculus. The ancients didn't need to develop it because they had magic for many engineering needs, but with magic banned, the study of engineering without it had to develop. You recognize the integral the spectre is working on and find the old symbol of the natural logarithm. The spectre cries out in excitement and continues to write equations from there that you don't understand. You go from feeling smart to feeling like an intellectual imposter. Nevertheless, the spectre flies to its trove of goods on the landing and finds some excellent treasures for you. Another Lux Gladius which the spectre demonstrates with a BSSSHHHT and a metal torque etched with symbols of trees and dark suns, which should increase your prowess with vivomancy and negation. You gratefully accept the spirit's gifts, handing the Lux Gladius to Tal. Whoa, Tal says as she waves the sword of light around with a VWUMWUMWUM. The excited spirit returns to its mathematics, and, feeling it would be churlish to ransack its laboratory further, you return to the intersection of corridors, feeling the glamour drop along the way. Continue up the stairs to the aviary and air dock. You think it's time to proceed up the stairs. You ascend to the aviary and air dock. You emerge onto the roof of the large tower you had been exploring, where you see a giant green dragon curled around an ancient airship about 100 feet away. The airship has no propellers or anything of the sort, just a single tall mast for a crow's nest. But you can tell from its heavy metal hull, hemispherical on the bottom and aerodynamic on top, that this was never a ship meant to sail through water. The sleeping dragon curled about the mast is massive and ancient, the size of a nice two-story house, and its green scales look brittle and riddled with fungus and rot. Its breath smells slightly foul. You catch a whiff of rotten eggs that must be sulfur. The 5 other airships of the air dock have all been smashed over the course of centuries, but the large central airship looks intact. You could attack this dragon while it is sleeping, though an attack would certainly wake it up. You could also try sneaking around it to explore. You give Tal an inquiring look about the dragon, and she gives you a dubious look in return that says, "Are you crazy?" Dracus Megafit, your golem says, holding up a hand in warning. Ne Bella Conflict. Blast the dragon with negation magic. Cast a divination to learn the dragon's weak point. Sneak past the dragon to see what treasure it may guard. Thrust my Lux Gladius into the sleeping dragon. You could attack this dragon. You try sneaking past the dragon. Footfall by footfall, you try to stealthily make your way past it. But you don't get more than a few feet before the dragon stirs, stretches like a cat, and lets out an angry screech. You find yourself facing down a giant dragon. Blast the dragon with negation magic. Cast a glamour to impress the dragon. Cast a divination to learn the dragon's weak point. Thrust my Lux Gladius into the dragon. You cross your arms over your chest and draw on the power within you. Philautia omnis, Cleos venenum. The dragon appears thoroughly unimpressed, and it takes a swipe at you with a giant claw. You are battered to the ground like a toy. The glamour is not working at all, and you curse the fact that you just sacrificed some of your good health for nothing except the hard truth that glamours don't always work. Gained glamour. As you run back the way you came, the dragon leaps over you and lands with an echoing boom in front of the door, blocking your exit. Then it inhales, then breathes flame. You duck behind the central airship. The dragon's breath sets the whole air dock ablaze, though you avoided the brunt of the flames. You feel a pang of sorrow. You were hoping to be able to come back later for more knowledge, but with all the flammable wood and paper, everything will be incinerated by the time you can return. How will you get through the rock ceiling of the cavern above you? Blast the rock ceiling with negation magic. Use automation magic to turn the central airship's mast into a drill. Use Vivomancy to grow the wooden tower until it bursts through the ceiling. You extend your will to the very tower you're standing on, once grown from a single piece of wood like the rest of the academy. You can still feel the dormant life within the wood, though its tree is 2,000 years dead. It teems inside with the life of insects and moss and parasites. It is these on which you draw, forcing the life back into the old wood. Xylem, phloem, zome, vivim. You shout, and the whole tower shakes, then begins to grow upward with alarming speed. Such powerful life magic puts you less in touch with negation magic, but you suppose you can live with that. Gained Vivomancy. Lost negation. The dragon roars in anger and looks about in confusion. Seeing the ceiling speed toward it, it leaps off the tower. Are you crazy? Tal says. Get inside the airship. You say. Can you fly that thing? Tal says. No, but it's sturdy and should take the impact, you say. My first priority is not getting squished. If we break through, I can get us home somehow. You, Tal, and the golem quickly take shelter within the old airship. It's dark in there, lit only by magical emergency lights along the floor, but you get a dim sense of a throne-like chair that must be the helm, and wooden benches along the windows encircling the bridge. No sooner are you inside than you feel the whole airship shudder as the growing tower pounds into the ceiling, squeezing the airship. You can feel the ceiling of the underground cavern strain under the pressure, and then there is a sudden giving way. The tower has broken through. Quick, onto the deck. You shout, and Tal and the golem follow you. On the deck of the airship, you can see that the tower has indeed burst through the surface of the earth, revealing the parched plains where you and Tal first started digging to find the ruins. You can feel tower and airship alike sinking beneath you, and the whole thing may collapse at any moment. Aviana, Aeroba, Volanta, Pluma. Your spell of Vivomancy causes wings to grow from your back. You feel your mass overall get lighter in a way that may not reverse itself. Gained Subtlety. Lost Fighting. Hop on. You say to Tal. This is crazy, Tal says, following your instructions. My best friend has wings, and now I'm just hopping on for a ride. No biggie. You turn to the golem. I'm afraid I can't carry you. The golem shrugs. Olikala. Then it leaps away from the collapsing tower with an astonishing bound, landing on stable ground 150 feet away. It turns to you expectantly, awaiting further instructions. Okay then, you say. Meet me in Akreton. You think the town's name hasn't changed in 2,000 years. The golem bows. Surteri, Dominax. And with that, you fly out of the cavern and into the sky. The ever-present thunderclouds above you look a bit peeved, like an ant colony that's been kicked. You look down and see the cavern collapsing. Apparently the final hole you punched through it was enough to remove its keystone and bring the whole thing down. You won't be returning anytime soon. Or, Tal says, rubbing your shoulder to cheer you up. Don't be sad. Look at it this way. You could have gone your whole life without ever seeing that library. But now you have seen it and you can pursue your dreams. It may be the end of one thing, but it's the beginning of another. Isn't that exciting? Yeah, you say. It is. You've dreamed of being a wizard all your life. The ability to shape reality with mere thought will seem almost a fairy tale, but you finally have the tomes necessarily to make it real. The Inquisitors will surely come for you again. People have vanished for knowing less than what you know. A conflict with the Church seems inevitable. The end of one thing is the beginning of another, Tal repeats. That's how it always is. And I have a feeling this is the beginning of something big.
Okay, that's the first chapter. I'm going to stop streaming now. Thank you.